Hey guys, it's Maymay and it's Advent calendar time, and this year's Advent calendar is different. It's different in the fact that instead of this being a candy calendar this year, I'm doing a Bible reading calendar for your family. So to have the reading list for the family, but I'm doing it different. So check this out. Do you know what a QR code is? So these little boxes have these little codes in them. We're going to build the calendar in a minute. Bear with me. These little codes in them, and you can scan those codes with your phone, and it will take you directly to the Bible reading. And the reason I wanted to do this is because most of our children and grandchildren love technology, and I think they will think it is really cool that you have a calendar that when you pull the date out, they have to scan it with their phone to get to the Bible reading. I think it will really intrigue them, and they'll look forward to scanning. Now, of course, I'm putting this into my Advent calendar, but I'm making the calendar in such a way you can put anything you want inside the box. Let me show you really quick how to get a QR code reader and how they work. And if you're not interested in that part, we'll put a timestamp for you here so you can get past that and go straight to the calendar making. Okay, so this is Amanda's phone. I borrowed it from her so I can show you how this works. What you do to get a reader for this, and they're free, you can get them on your phone, you go to your app store. That's where I am right now, in the app store. I'm going to click on search, and in the search bar up here, I'm just going to type in QR, and usually you just write in QR and code reader will pop up. I'm going to click code reader, okay? And then this is the one I use. I just get the first one. It's free, and I'm going to click get. That's all you do. Download that, and you'll be ready to go. Okay. Amanda relaxing on her cruise ship. This is my QR code reader. So now I just tap on it, and when it opens, it's going to read one of these codes. It'll pick which one. Oh, let me set it up. I have to say next and get it all ready to go. It's the first time I've opened it. So this is what I'm going to put it to the side so it doesn't scan. This is what your code reader looks like. It uses your camera to read what you put under it, okay? Then when I put this over here, it's going to pick a code to read. But you, of course, would just have one code apart for it to read. But watch what's going to happen. So we'll grab this one. And what it does is it takes you right to BibleGateway.com. See that? And this is your first day's reading. And it's actually multiple scriptures. You'll see here, this is what you'll read on your first day if you scan day 1. When you scan day 2, it's going to take you to the next reading, and day 3 is the next reading. And the one I'm using is on BibleGateway.com, and I wanted to point this out to you. If you're not a fan of an NIV, it's going to default to NIV. That's just what it does. If you need to read from the King James or from any other version, you just do that little drop down and you can pick any other translation of the word that you like to read. They're all in there. And I will tell you, at Christmas time, reading the Message is really pretty. If you read from the Message of Christmas, of course, I don't study from the Message Bible, but I would read it for Christmas story because I think it'd be pretty. But I typically lean to the NIV for just standard reading. So you can choose from lots of different versions or translations. Okay. That is how the QR works. And now we're going to make the calendar to hold it. I think your kids are going to love this idea. I think your kids and grandkids, your grandkids will think you're the coolest technologically savvy grandma ever or grandfather. Okay. All right. Let's make. By the way, this is a free PDF on our website. We also, and it'll all be linked in the blog post for you. We're also giving you a free PDF for the numbers that I'm going to be using. I won't be using these numbers, but in case your paper pack doesn't have numbers, I'm giving you these as well. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started. All right, this is the paper pack I'm using, and I'm going to be using just a piece of 12 by 12 chipboard to house my Advent calendar. I think this will work perfect. And I dug through this Simple Stories collection. I think is beautiful. These are the numbers I'm going to use. Look how gorgeous they are. They are perfect for this. So I'll put those aside. I'll be cutting those down in a few minutes. And this is going to be my background paper. I think it's stunning. So this will be the part that is my Advent calendar background. I think it's just perfect. It lends itself to be a background. I need to trim the top off, but we'll get to that. Then I'm going to go through here to make my pockets, okay? So let's go ahead and get our background cut and ready. So I'm going to trim off this little piece here. This is called the branding strip, and I don't need that, so I'm going to trim that away. And that's how difficult the background of my Advent calendar will be. That will live right here. I'm not going to glue it down just yet because I may want to take it off to make my marks to put my pocket. But for now, that's what's going to happen. So we'll put that aside for a few minutes. Now I'm going to need 25. Yes, I'm doing 25 pockets. The reason for that is I have 25 days of reading because I think it's cool to have one day on Christmas Day as well. So I'm going to run through here and pick out the pages that I want to be my pockets. These two, this front and back will work. Front and back will work. I don't want to use this one. I love that, and I don't want to cut into that, so I'm not going to be using that one. I don't want to use this one because of these images, so I'm going to put that one aside. I don't want to use this one. I'm going to put it aside. This guy, let's see what the back looks like. I could use him, but I'm going to try to use just the pattern pages. See how that has an image? And then we're down to the cut aparts. So we're going to have to go back and decide on one of those other ones, unless you want to use like a 6x6 paper pack that you might have. I think this would be pretty pockets. So even though it has a scene on the back, I'm going to use it as well. And I think this plaid would be pretty pockets to go with that. So I'm going to use it also. That'll give me 4 different ones. And I love a good polka dot. I can see this polka dot showing me here. So I may use the polka dot as well. Look how cute that would be for pockets. I love it. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put these guys aside for later. So you're going to need 25 squares that are 3 inches by 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these guys down 3 inches by 2.5. Let me see how many we'll get out of a 12-inch strip so I'll know what to cut. Is that 2.5? It is 2.5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one's not quite big enough, so I'll save this for something else. I'm going to go ahead and run through and just cut random patterns until I get enough. So I have all of my squares cut for my pockets. Now I'm going to go ahead and separate all of my numbers and get 1 through 25 put aside for me. So for your advent calendar, you're going to need 25 boxes. And I'm doing 25 because I want to have reading on Christmas Day as well. So I've cut for myself 25 pieces that are 3 by 2 1/4. Okay. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to put it into your scoring tool on the 3-inch side. All right. And we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, just like that. And we're going to score it at 2.5 inches. So that's going to leave us a 2-inch wide piece here. Okay. Then we're going to turn it and we're going to score it on one of the ends at 1/2 inch in, which is going to be 1 3/4. Okay. So your pocket, or my pocket, to make it fit on my calendar like I want it to, is going to be 1 3/4 inches tall by 2 inches wide. Now that means for me, I'm going to have to do some adjusting on my numbers. I'm going to have to shrink these guys down a little bit to make them fit. And the ones that we give you that are printable, what we did on those was we left you plenty of room. So you have these 2 by 2 inch squares with numbers in them, but we gave you enough room to size them down depending on how you needed to do them. I wasn't really sure, you might want to print these on a certain paper, or you might want to cut them, you might want to punch them in a circle, who knows? We just want to give you a gap around those. So that's the score marks for your pocket. Now tell you what, I'm going to draw this one on so you can see it. So give me just a second. So that is your score marks for your pocket. Now what you're going to do is you're going to cut these corners away. And I'm actually cutting the score mark itself away. A lot of times you guys ask me, do we cut in the ditch of the score mark? Do we cut on the outside or the inside? I'm cutting the score mark away. I don't need it. And that way I won't have any kind of resistance when I go to fold my pocket. So to fold the pocket, here you go. It's real important that you pay attention to this part. You'll be sad if you don't. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your sides and fold them in. So fold the sides in first. I'm going to go ahead and crease these down. Of course, yours won't have a marker on them, and you won't have marker on your fingers like I do. Then I'm going to take the bottom and fold it up over those. Okay. Now there's a reason. Let me tell you why. You're going to be sliding a piece of cardstock in here because you're going to slide your little reader in. Let me show you. This is your little day reader. You're going to slide this guy in. If you put this piece underneath, there's a very good chance that when you go to slide this in, it will catch on that. See, it catches on that cardstock. See how it stops it? We don't want that to happen. So if you just switch the way you glue this, you won't have to worry about that. This guy will then slide all the way down and you won't get that resistance. Okay, so make sure your glue goes on the side tabs and you close it down. Now I am making my pockets flat because all I'm putting inside of it is this little piece of paper. Of course, we're going to have a pull tab, but this is all I'm putting inside of it. If you would like some room inside of your pocket to maybe put a piece of candy, let me show you how I would do that. So if you're not going to do the little reader one like I am, or you're not going to slide just a piece of cardstock in, here's what you do. You cut yourself 25 pieces that are 4 inches wide, and then it is 2 1/4 tall. And here's what you do. So on your 4-inch side, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and also at 1. And then you're going to score it at 3 and 3.5. Then we're going to turn it just like we did before and score this 1/2 inch in, which is 1 3/4. So I'm going to get the same height and width of my pocket, but I want a little more room on the side for like a gusset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away the score marks where they cross over, just like I showed you on the one just a moment ago. So I'm just cutting these away all the way across the bottom and all the way here, cutting the score marks away, not cutting in the ditch. Okay. Then what we'll do is we will fold this Mountain Valley style. So here's what I mean. I'm going to fold this flap in just like we did a moment ago. I'm going to go ahead and crease that down as well. And then I'm going to fold it back in that middle score mark that I made and crease that one down. You see what I've done? I've just created this little accordion side. See that? Do the same thing on the other side. Fold and crease, and then fold and crease. Now you have to decide. At this part, you can close this guy over like this, okay? And then when you glue this down, you're going to have a little bit of room here to, let me see if I can show you from the side. You'll have a little bit of room here to add something a little thicker than that one slot. See how it's going to make a pocket like that? It's going to be super huge. You'll have to be a peppermint or a lifesaver or money. That's what kids want nowadays. So you put that in there. Or you can fold this underneath and do it. I just don't know that you'd get any more room by doing it that way. You might get a little more room, but you can decide. If it were me, I would fold this down and glue it like that so nothing would catch. Okay, so that's if you want a little excess pocket room there. All right, I'm going to make my 25 pockets and we'll get right back together. Here are my pockets all made, all 25 of them. I used different pattern papers from the paper pack. I'm going to move those aside because now we have some work to do. You're going to need your big scoreboard. So here's my large scoreboard, and I'm going to show you first what we're going to be scoring. This is what it's going to look like. I'm going to slide it up just a little bit so you can see the whole sheet in the camera. Okay. This is what we are going to score. I'm going to score that piece that's going to glue down to my chipboard. Remember I told you this was my backer piece, like this. And the reason I'm doing this is because it will then create a grid for me to place my pockets, and my placement will be pretty spot on. It's not going to be perfect. This is handmade, so we're not going to have perfect gaps, but this is what we're going to use to help us place our pockets. So what I found was the best was to do this whole scoring grid situation. So let me tell you how this works. I just wanted to give you a picture. Notice it doesn't go all the way to the top. That matters in just a second. All right, so let's bring out the real deal. So this is my actual piece. And the first part that I want to score, let me show you this. I want to score this side first because this is a stop line for me. So I'm going to do it like this. So I want to make sure this is the top of my page here. So I want to make sure that I have my backer piece in with the top on this end. That matters. So you see what I'm saying? This is the top of my advent calendar. My pockets will be facing up, and I want to score this first. All right, let me tell you your measurements. So your first measurement, and this side, I'm going to be scoring all the way down the page. I won't be stopping, okay? For this side, you're going to score first at 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to score 1/4 of an inch here at the bottom. Your next mark is 2 inches. Before I get going, don't worry about remembering these. I'll have all these on the blog post for you, so you'll have all your measurements, okay? The next one is 2 1/2. Then 4 1/4. 4 3/4, 6 1/2, 7, 8 3/4, 9 1/4. I want you to know I did all that math for you. My brain hurts, but I did all that math for you to make that work. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this with the top at the bottom. Okay, so I'm making sure this is the top of my advent calendar. My pockets face up this way. This is the bottom. All right. Now when I score, I want to stop scoring at the last score line here at the top of my page, which is actually at the bottom. This is very confusing, but I want to stop at this score line here. So here's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to score at 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to come right over here and score at 1/4, but I'm going to stop at that spot right there, which is my the last score mark that I made a while ago. Okay. Then my next mark, I'm going to score at 2 1/4 all the way to that last score line. So I'm stopping right there. Then I'm going to score at 2 5/8 to the same score line. 4 5/8. Again, don't worry. All these measurements will be on the blog. 5 inches. 7 inches. 7 3/8. 9 3/8. 9 3/4. And then 11 3/4. So this is just 1/4 of an inch in. This is kind of our little frame. Now I know on camera, it's hard for you to see my score marks. I can see them in person, but I want you to remember that yours should look like this when finished. Top of your advent calendar, bottom of your advent calendar, it should look like this. Okay? So I hope that helps you to understand what we're doing here. Now, of course, I'm going to be working in the scored one because that's going to be my finished project. So you may not see them as I'm placing, but you'll get the idea. Now what we need to do, using these score marks, let me use it on this other one so you can see. Using the score marks, what you're going to do is you're going to place your pockets where you want them, okay? So, for example, in the squares that are the size of your score marks, this is what's going to happen. You're going to place your little pockets and you'll glue them down inside those large open squares that we left, okay? And the spaces in the middle, let me use different colors here. The spaces in the middle, those gaps, are just going to be the gap between our pockets. But see, by doing it this way, we line up perfectly. Make sense? This is perfectly lined up. This also allows us, I'll hold this one down until I do it, allows us room to slide this guy in and add a little, I'm going to put a little half scallop circle here so we can grab it and pull it out. Okay? So that's what I need to do, but I'm not going to do it on this page. I'm going to do it on my other page where it's scored, and I'll just put some music and let y'all watch me. But I want to tell you this. Make sure you like pre-lay out all your pockets. Lay them all out before you glue down so you can see what your patterns are looking like. So you don't spend any time gluing things down and then end up at the end having two that are just alike next to each other or something like that. So just take a little time and line them up how you might want them. Something like this. You may not like these greens being that close together. Just lay them out first before you glue them down. And one thing I need to tell you, you will have another row right here, okay? But to place it, all you'll do is line it up over that row. So yes, it does extend out one more row, like so. I put that pocket down upside down. But it does do this, okay? But you don't need to draw your lines all the way up. Your lines can stop. And that way, at the very top of the page, you won't have lines. So if you want to do some decorating, which I'm going to put some stuff up there too, you won't have score lines up there. So it'll still extend all the way up, but you just have to line them like this. All right, enough talk. Let me put them down. So there they are, all glued down. And now I can glue this to my chipboard because I know I have everything where I want it. So this is my 12 by 12 chipboard. And I'm actually going to put my glue onto the chipboard and then put my paper down. So I'm just going to run this around. You might want to use sticky tape here. This wouldn't be a bad idea for that, or some sort of adhesive that's not glue. I'm putting art glitter glue down, and I'm being a little thicker with my line here so it doesn't dry too quick on me. You know, it can dry quick, and in this big space, it can dry pretty fast. All right, so this will be the same size as my chipboard. Just lay that down and get it lined up. This is pretty easy. Once you get the math done for all where these pockets go, the rest of this lays out pretty easy. Now, don't worry about the fact we don't have a whole lot of room to decorate. I have an idea for up here, but I wanted to get this done first. I think, oops, look what I did. I rubbed it wrong. Don't do that. I think what I'm going to do is maybe extend this with another piece of chipboard that I decorate and put on, but we'll see about that in a few minutes. All right, 2 more things I need to do. Now I need to stuff these guys, but remember how I told you that I wanted to put something to make this easier to come out? See how it kind of goes in? Well, let me show you what I'm going to do. So this is the cut apart that we give you. This is the free PDF. It will be in the description. Nope, it'll be in the blog post that we post below. And I'm just going to slice this on the line or right close to the line. You could slice the line completely off. That'd be fine too. And we went ahead on these to save you some heartache and put the days. See how they say day 1? They say all the days on there. That is because when you cut these out, you do not have to try to remember what went where. This way you can just look at the little box and know exactly which day is which. So I'm just going to cut all these guys apart, all 25 of them, and we'll get right back together. Now what I have done, I've cut my numbers out, and I've taken my 3/4 inch scallop punch, and I cut out 25 little red scallops, and this is going to be super easy. Let me show you what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take one of the numbers and my art glitter glue, and on the bottom half of this scallop, I'm going to add a little glue, and I'm going to eyeball center it. You don't really have to eyeball because you can use this little, your scallops to help you get it just right on your piece. But I'm just going to center this on the back, and this is going to be my little pull tab that I pull. Oops, I'm off camera, that I pull this out with. Let's do another one in case I was off camera. I'm not sure. Okay, so little glue on the bottom. Then I'm just going to line this up kind of centered. And the biggest thing you want to make sure is that you're doing the same amount of scallops showing on each one, because when you have them in, so, you want to make sure they're the same like this, because when you have them laid out like we're going to, it'll be obvious if they're kind of in and out. So you can kind of see how I've done mine there. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to run through and glue these little scallops down, and that will be my pull tab to pull them from the box. So I got all my little days done, and I went ahead and put them in order here. And I want to show you something else I'm going to do before I put them into the slots. I think this will help us in the long run. I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to curl up that little pull tab at the top. I just want to be able to get to it super easy. So then these guys just slide in. They're so cute, you guys. And see, by having that little curl, it's easy to grab, and you're going to want that everywhere. Trust me. You don't want to be frustrated later. So just curl these little guys up. I'm just using my bone folder and then slide them in. Don't they look like little packages? Aren't they so cute? All right. No, I have not got my numbers on yet. We do have to do that. It feels like I may have glued that one down a little tight. So I think I'm going to use the end of my pokey tool. I noticed when I was gluing them down that I might have gotten some glue in places I shouldn't have, and that might be your issue too. You might find yourself, see, I had glue in there stuck down somewhere I shouldn't have. I still think I feel some over there. Well, let's see. So you may have that same issue. There we go. Okay, and they don't have to go all the way down. Some of them will, some of them won't. I'm not going to stress. It'll be super cute, and we'll have fun doing it. All right, I'm going to curl all these little guys and stick them all into their slots, and then we're going to number them. Now it's time for me to glue my numbers on, but remember how I told you that my numbers that I'm using are too big? Although, look, I totally could have done that, right? But it's too big. I don't want to do that. I did this so it would fit on my board and leave me a little bit of room here so I could decorate at the top, because I only have a 1/4 inch around all the edges, and I wanted to leave me a little space to glue something else on. So that's why I chose the size of the box I did. But I'm going to need to cut these guys down. And what I thought I would do is kind of evaluate each one. And ideally, I would cut these down to 1.5 inch. So let's just see if I'm going to be able to do that. I think I can do it with all of them. 1.5 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to trim this. I'm going to have to do them one at a time because, see, that's what I want. Just like that. I'm going to have to do them one at a time because the numbers are in different places. Notice how the one's on that side, the two's on that side. So I'm going to have to do them one at a time, but that's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to trim all of these guys down to fit. So mine are going to be, is that right? I want to double check. 1.5 by 1 3/4. I had it wrong. So it's 1.5 this way. Whew. You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to think. And then by 1 3/4 this way. Okay. So I'm going to run through and do that and then get all my numbers placed. And then I'm going to stick them down. And I'm thinking I'm going to put them down with dimensional foam, like with some Scotty. I think I wanted to pop up. Here's a good example. See how that's more in the middle? So I'm going to have to really pay attention to that one. So here's all the pieces laid out, and I want to show you how I'm going to attach them. I'm going to use some Scotty. I think it'll be cool to kind of lift them up. The one thing you want to consider, you're doing a lot of work on this little advent calendar, and the cool thing is this guy can be used from year to year. It does not have to be a one and done advent calendar because the scripture readings can be used over and over again. The other thing you might want to think is next year you might decide you want to put something different inside of there. So I'm saying all this to say, when you're going to apply these, you might want to add that little bit of extra glue I added so it'll stay for a long time. The other cool thing about this advent calendar is that it's super flat, right? It's not going to take up a lot of room in your storage. And you probably could put it like in the top of a closet, in your pantry. You know, you could put this somewhere easy to get to for next year. And so go ahead and make sure you're using plenty of foam, you're using plenty of adhesive to stick everything down, and then it should last you for years to come. Yeah, I think popping those up is the way to go. I'll show you once I get them all down so I don't knock them all off, but I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to run through and pop all these guys up. Okay. So here they are all put together. You can see the dimension now. I think that looks really cool. This would probably have looked really good if I'd inked all the edges. I did not. I didn't take the time to do that. Some of them are crooked. Don't stress. Don't stress. It's still going to be fun. The only thing you might want to think about that I didn't, and this always comes back to get me because I never think about this. Wow, I really got those crooked. Let's don't stress. Okay. Notice that this green and this green are the same, and this green and this green are the same. How that happens to me, I don't know, but it always does. So if that kind of thing would bother you, how the envelope or the little pocket and the topper piece are the same color, then you might want to think about it ahead of time. Not that big of a deal to me. Now, full disclosure, it is the end of the workday for me, so I'm going to stop here until the morning. And when I come back, I'm going to decorate the top. I'm going to add ribbon to make it a hanger, and that's going to be it. I may do something on the back. I think it might be pretty to put one of the pieces from like the Away in the Manger set or from Oh Holy Night, the paperback. I think it'd be pretty to put back here. So we'll see. But that is the advent calendar for now, and I'll see for you in just a second. I have decided to extend this guy out, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So in my scrap pile of chipboard, I found this piece that is 4 inches by 12 inches. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this using 1/2 inch of that space to the back of my piece to make it taller. And then I'll use this for hanging, and I can also decorate this piece. But before I glue it down, before I glue this piece down, I'm going to cover it so that no matter where it shows, it'll be nice and covered. So here's what we're going to do. I love this red polka dot piece from the paper pack. So that's the one I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. And you need to get that little bubble off of there. We'll put some glue down and cover the whole piece. Even though some of it's going to wrap underneath or going to lay underneath my advent, that's not going to bother me. I just want to make sure I don't have to try to piece it perfectly. So I'm going to just go ahead and cover it, and then we'll decorate it up. I just wanted a place to be able to put some cute little things like stickers or whatever from the paper pack and just really dress it up. So here I'm just going to lay this down on and just get it all covered. I can stand this up and use the table to help me there. And then I'm just going to use my knife to slice that away. Now this is just a 4 by 12 inch piece, so you totally could have just cut a piece of that size. But this is just how I typically cover chipboard. So I just went with it. All right, let's get my knife out. This is my pen blade. I'm just going to run that down beside. I find I have the hardest time with my pen blade and my bifocals. I really do. I bet some of you guys are that way too. I'll think I'm on the line and I'll get off of the line so easy because my bifocals kind of lose it. Over 40 eyes, y'all. Over 40 eyes. Okay, so right here I'm missing something. I can feel it. Right in there. There we go. Got it cut. Okay. So this piece is all ready to go. I think what I'm going to do is mark 1/2 inch so I know where I'll be gluing it. And I think I'm going to decorate it before I glue it onto the top. I don't know. I'm just feeling like that might make for easier decorating. So I'm going to lay this down on my work surface. I'm going to use my work surface to help me. And I'm going to make a 1/2 inch mark. So I know that I don't want to decorate in this area because that's what I'm going to use to glue it on to my board. So just give myself a spot there. Okay, and now then, put this guy away. I can decorate above here. Now I do want to remember that I need to put some holes in it for hanging. So what I'll do first is go ahead and make my holes, because if I don't, I will cover up where I need to put them. And I'm going to put it about 3/4 of an inch in on the side. So I'm just setting my little depth finder there. And I'm going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile to help me line this up. I'm coming down about 1/8 of an inch from the top. So can you see that? I've just kind of 1/8 of an inch down and 3/4 of the way in, and that'll be my first hole. And then I need to do the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to flip it over. I'll get the same effect, but I'll just do it over here so I don't have to try to hold my hand funny. All right, so there's my 2 holes, super easy. If you need to measure those, you certainly can. But this will be easy because I'm going to be putting ribbon through here to hang it on a ribbon. And so you'll be able to adjust it with the ribbon, no problem. All right, so we can decorate all this space, and I have to show you something. So this big word that says believe, I think this is so pretty. And I thought about putting it here, and I really wanted some Christmas trees here. And I've looked through the pack. There's some I can fussy cut, but there's also this sticker. So let me look for some images I can fussy cut. Look at this piece. This is perfect for right there. And I can trim this out and put it there without having to do any piecing or anything. Let me cut this out, and I'm going to fussy cut around one edge of it, not both, just one. So let me get this piece off of here. You can totally use your trimmer for this, but I'm ready to fussy cut. So I just picked these up, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with this piece. Here again, you might think this is so hard to do with fussy cutting, but it is not. It is just moving the page. You're just kind of driving your scissors around the page. And notice how I just kind of skimmed over his antlers? I'm not going to take the time to cut out every one of those antlers. I am going to go around that little branch right there. I want the edge to be a little loose. So anywhere those branches stick out around the barn, I am going to keep those. But I'm just sort of bubble cutting around them. I call it bubble cutting. It's really kind of leaving an offset. Whenever you get too much paper in your way, just trim it out. Just trim that, let it drop, and then come right back to what you're doing. And that will help you to do so much better fussy cutting. Again, this is not actual fussy cutting. This is just bubble cutting. See how I'm driving the paper through the scissors? That's how you want to do that. It's so much easier than trying to move your scissors around everywhere. It's just like going for a drive. Perfect. So look how pretty this is to live right here. And I can put it there and still get my ribbon through. So that's really cool. Let's see what else I want to put up there. So I fussy cut this piece, fussy cut this piece. I think I want to bring like a ribbon banner in here to put the word believe on. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And I know I don't want it to be more than 3.5 inches because that's all the space I have there. So let's get our trimmer out and build ourselves one. So this is a scrap from one of the other pieces that I used that I cut away. So I'm going to cut the brand new strip off here. And I think I want this piece to be about 2.5 inches wide. I need to make sure that my letters are going to fit in that from my sticker sheet. So let me grab it. So this is my sticker sheet, and I'm just going to measure. I really just need to get the top of this. So this guy's a little more than 2 inches. Oh, but I got to go from top to bottom of that. So I better check that out from the B. Yeah, that's right at 2.5. So if I go a little bigger than 2.5, I should be fine. So let's do it 2 3/4 and see what we're looking like. I can always trim it down more. So I've got that piece there. And then let's decide how big we want it. So I want this to come in from the side and actually be something like this. Ooh, that's a good size. I like that size. I want this to live here still. And I want this to have like a little ribbon cut piece here. And then have the word believe there. And then bring this guy back down here to the end. Oh, I want you to stay there. And I may bring you down there. That's kind of my plan so far. So let's do the ribbon cut and then put the word believe on to see how much space we've got. I don't want to go too deep. I just want to get the look of it. So let's just go like this and like this. And I'm going to cut the length down after the fact because I need to make sure that my letters have enough space. So I don't want to cut the length just yet until I put my letters on. Does that make sense? I want it to run the whole length here, but I got to put my letters in before I can cut this down to make sure. Okay, so let's do the letters. Well, I couldn't be more excited. This is one piece, and I thought it was a bunch of pieces, but it's not. I'm really glad about that. I want this to go here, but I think I want to pop it up. Let's do that. I think it'll be pretty if I put it on some dimension. So I'm going to add a little glue to the foam tape because I want this to stay on. I'm not covering the foam. I'm just trying to help it stay a little bit. So just adding some dots of glue here and there. There we go. And then I'm going to put this into place. I love this piece. I better do it like this so I can make sure I get it straight. Or fairly straight at least. Good thing too is having that glue on there gives me just a second or two to kind of straighten that out. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. All right, so then this is going to go like this. And I'm going to mark where I want to cut it because I want to make sure I cut it nice and straight. I'm just going to mark, that's where I want that to go. Let's bring my trimmer back over. And I'm just going to put that line in right here to keep my cut nice and straight. And that will be the piece that goes up to the top. Let's just see how that's going to lay out. So that will go like that. And then this guy will live down here. Did I do too much? I did, but that's okay. I can let it hang off, and I can actually leave it hanging off, or I can cut it. Either one I want to do. Then I've got this little guy to go here. And I've got another idea that I want to add. Give me just a second. So before I stick everything down, I thought I would come into my stickers and see what I might have here I want to use. I love this piece right here. And I'm wondering if I could put it down, maybe even behind here. And even if it hangs off a little bit, let me just set that there for a second. And then that on top, nope, covers it up too much. I'm just going to play and see. Oh, it'd be pretty right there. So we'll set that there for a second. And then I can add this guy also. Let's just leave that there for a minute. And I really like this piece down here at the bottom. I don't know if I can make use of it yet. I think I can. Let me lift this guy. So if I move you up as high as you can go, wouldn't that be cute right there? So I decided I do want to use this little piece, right? But I want it to go underneath here. So I want to get that tucked under there and get it all laid down nice and smooth. Stick all that down, stick that there. Now I'm going to add glue to the back and put it onto my piece. There we go. This will make this easier. I was going to try to do that the hard way. This is one of those I don't know projects. Like I don't know how I'm going to do the top, and we're kind of figuring it out together. So that's how this is working. So let's bring that back there. That there. Now I got the bottom off, so I'm just going to check the top and make sure I get the top lined up correct, and then the bottom will just land where it lands. That is so pretty to me. So let's bring our little house over, and I think I want to pop him up too. Lift him up on some foam. I'm going to add some glue to this guy. Ooh, almost dropped him. Okay, and then stick him down, and I know he's going all the way to the corner because of the way he's cut. Just like so. I love that popped up. I love the pieces hanging off the top. Don't worry about that sticker. I'll show you what I'm going to do about that. I still want to use this guy, but I don't really want to cover it. Do I want him to hang off? I kind of like him hanging off, which means I'll add something hanging off over here. He looks really good. I'm going to pop him up as well. I love building like this. This is something a long time ago I did a card. I did a video series. This one was called, for me, it was called Exploding Composition. It's where everything just kind of explodes off the page and goes everywhere. And I love the look of this. I'm not real good at it. I'm usually not real good at laying this out. I'm enjoying how this is looking. But I usually struggle with kind of the, I call it like crazy quilt style. You know how everything's kind of all over the place. I usually struggle with that, but I'm liking how this is turning out. I think I got some foam hanging over the edge. I do right here. There we go. Let's add some glue, which I keep forgetting to put the lid on. Getting too excited. Okay, so let's add this guy here. Let him hang off the edge. I like that. What else can we add? I love how this is looking. Let's add something that hangs off here. So I want to put this little guy here. And he actually, I didn't think he would, but he's going to cover that little sign up really well. And I can actually cross him over just a tiny bit. I'm just going to let him live right there. I wanted to use him. I like how he goes in the other direction. And if you want to really cover this little sign up, you could always use these other little pieces, but I'm not too worried about that. I do want to bring some red over here. I want to see how I want to do it. I thought with that sticker, but I don't think so. Let me look around and see what I can do to bring some red over here. I think what I'm going to do is use some red Nuvo drops in this tree like ornaments, but I don't want to do that till I get everything done because I don't want to make a mess of those. I want to sit and let that dry. So here's what I'm going to do. I thought I had a funny cut there. Let's attach this to our advent calendar now. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put this guy here. And remember, I can use this whole strip for my adhesive. You can use sticky tape. I'm going to use art glitter glue. I think it will work best for me and what I'm doing here. So I'm going to art glitter glue this down. Just like this. Okay, and now I'm going to turn this sideways so I can see what I'm doing. But you remember we had that mark that we made for ourselves. And we tried to stay close to it. So I'm just going to stick this guy down. I got to lift this sticker up a little bit. There we go. And get that right there. And let that adhere for a few minutes. So just rub that down. Then I'm going to put that sticker back down. Isn't that cute? I might even run something right here along the top of that where that meets. Let's see what we got. Here's a great way to bring some red over here. I'll add this Christmas Joy sticker at the top. I'm just adding stickers. I could stop at any point, but I'm just loving them. And I love all the color, how it dances around. So pretty. I really want to stop, but I really don't want to stop because I love the stickers. Okay, I'm stopping with the stickers. I love how that looks. Let's work on our bows that are going to go here. So this is just some satin ribbon that I have in my stash. We're going to link all the products that we carry in the store for you guys in case you want to pick them up. So I do have this in the store that you can pick up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this through and tie a knot in the back. Not a very big knot. I might even tie a knot on the top like so that it'll hang a little flatter on my wall. This is hard for me to get this in screen. There we go. So if I just tie a little knot on the top, it won't push away from the wall. So I'm just going to tie it here like this. I'm going to hide it in a few minutes, but I'm just tying it to the top. I'll show you what I mean once I get my fingers out of the way. So see how the knot will live at the top, but it won't go behind the board. That's what we want to do. Then when I get this nice and tight, I'm going to trim away this excess piece here. And I will cover this up in a few minutes, but that'll be my first side. On the other side, I want to do the same thing, but I'm just going to bring my ribbon just enough to hang it. So about like that, and then I'm going to give myself a little bit of room for the knot. And I should have cut that at a point. Let me do that. Okay. Then I'm going to feed this through and do the very same thing. I'm not going to fight with this. I'm going to use my dental threader. I'm going to push it through and then put my ribbon through the dental threader and let it do the work. So feed that through there and then pull the dental threader through, and that will pull my ribbon through. I'll loosen this enough to hang it. That feels about right, and then tie my knot. I've plugged up my hot glue gun. I'm going to let it sit to the side, and we're going to tie some bows. I'm going to tie some bows to put at the top there. I don't want them huge because I don't want them to hide anything that I've put onto the piece. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to do that instead of just doing it. I'm putting this in my fingers like this. I'm going to make bunny ears, okay? And then I'm just going to tie my bunny ears together. So just tie those little loops together and then pull this out. Don't pull it tight yet. Go ahead and make all the adjustments you want to make. Again, I don't want huge bows, but I want some cute little bows up there. So then pull this and adjust as you go. Once you get it where you like it, you can pull it tight. But for me, I like to adjust and adjust and adjust as I go. Now, there are lots of ways to make bows. You can use your bow makers, anything like that. This is just one simple way for me there. All right, I'm going to cut that away, and I will trim these for real once I get them in place. But for now, I'm just going to trim them up so I can see what they look like. So there's one bow. Let's make another one. You guys might be wondering why mine says tester. Because in our store with our ribbons, we open one roll so you guys can touch and feel and see how they work. So that's why mine says tester. If you ever come by our store, you can try them out. I love that because I don't like when I go somewhere and I don't know if I want a ribbon. And then I noticed that someone else has already opened a pack. I don't like that. I like for them to be nice and fresh when I get them. So that's what we try to do. All right, so trimming. I'm just trimming these to the size of the bow right now, and then we'll put them in place. So let's get our board back over. Just going to place it here so you guys can see it. That's where we'll hang. I'm going to slide that up, and my bows are going to live here and here. And I will fray check those because I don't like them to fray on me. So I have a little fray check that I'll put in there. But in the meantime, we're going to get them glued down. So a dollop of hot glue, I'm going to put it on the knot that I made. And that way it'll hold the knot together and hold my bow on. So then I'll just stick this guy into the little glue dollop and let him cool off in place. And the same on this side. And that, my friends, is my advent calendar for 2019. I absolutely adore how this turned out. Look at this. You just pull this out and then you scan it with your phone and boom, it goes right to your daily reading. You also can look on Pinterest and you can find little random acts of kindness advents where instead of putting in your reading plan, you can put in things that you can do to be kind, like take some food to a homeless shelter, take some food to the Humane Society, donate some blankets or winter clothes. There's all kinds of things you can put in here if you would rather do that versus do your scripture reading. I personally like the idea of the scripture reading, and I love the way this looks. I cannot believe how crooked I got those. I might actually have to lift those up and fix them, but we'll know if I did or not by looking in the thumbnail. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget, we've got 2 free PDFs for you. The numbers as well as the scanners here. So you can get these, the little QR, not the scanners, but the QR codes for you. So you can get that in the blog post that we will link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you love this as much as I do. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with it because you will do a million other things that I never even thought of. And if you would like some inspiration, head to our website at maymaymadeit.com. We have a customer gallery with over 2,000 images of inspiration for you guys. I cannot wait for you to see it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.